Welcome to my first YouTube video in 5 years. Why am I so uncomfortable? Do I look uncomfortable to you? Should I start over or no? Okay, I'm gonna start over. This is my 5th take at doing this intro. I just need to do it and I need to own it. Hi guys! I have not been on YouTube posting long form content in 5 years. The first video that you are going to find on this account is me giving you a tour of my she shed. And if you're like, Chloe, what is a she shed? That is what put this Chloe on the map. In the video that I last posted, I was 18 years old. I am now 24. A lot has changed, so let me update you with where I've been, who I am, what to expect from this channel, why I'm back, and everything in between. I'm really excited, but I'm really nervous. I totally had a glass of wine off camera. So grab a snack, grab a glass of wine if you're of legal age, grab whatever vice you may prefer, and sit down and buckle up because this is gonna be the first time out of my entire digital footprint I've been posting consistently since 2020 that I tell you my full story. A little background, I just decided on a whim to start uploading all of the stuff I post on TikTok and Instagram onto YouTube Shorts. I'm like, it can't hurt, let's just throw it onto YouTube Shorts, like let's see. And I woke up and there's 40,000 of you subscribed to this channel. So I feel like I owe you an explanation on who you're following and what to expect from me going forward. I plan on posting 2 times a month. I literally am I have hired an editor that I am paying to edit 2 videos a month. So you best believe that at least for the rest of this year, that is what you're going to get. But let's get into who I am and who you press subscribe to. In 2020, I posted a series, I think it was like 10 different parts, of me transforming a shed into a she shed. I'll put all the content around me so you can have some context. And this is before I had a digital footprint, before I had a platform. I was a senior in high school in 2020. And I decided, okay, I'm kind of bored. We have 2 weeks off of school because of COVID. I'm gonna go in my backyard and I'm gonna make that shed into a she shed for me and my friends after quarantine. And I kind of hated on TikTok. I had like 30 followers at the time. And I was like, whatever, it's easier to make a TikTok rather than send a video to this group chat of people. So I posted this video. And I woke up the next day and I had 30,000 views. And I was like, wait a damn minute. This might be interesting. So 10, 12, however many videos later, this series had over 100 million views. Like, it had more watch time than the Super Bowl. Okay, it is the middle of the night and I'm editing, and I and my friend here added up all of the videos. And I was like, there's no way it's actually 100 million views. And we just did it on the calculator and it was 106 million, right? 106 million. I didn't think that was possible, but I checked my facts. I know that sounds crazy. So naturally, I just kept on going with these DIY type series. So after the she shed, I did this fire pit in my parents' backyard. And then I redid their master bedroom. And then I surprised my dad with a porch. And I redid my childhood bedroom. And I kept going with all of these projects. I made a porch swing. I became very comfortable with power tools and posting and editing. And before I knew it, I was a senior in high school and I had like nearly 3 million followers on this weird app called TikTok. It was quite literally the craziest time in my life because the amount of viewership and engagement I was getting just by pressing post was synonymous to that of like, this sounds crazy, but like a Kardashian. Right? Like I was getting 1 million, 2 million likes every single video because everyone was stuck inside and they were invested in these DIY series that I was doing. I was just a young girl with a vision, no construction experience, just trying to make something cool and bring value to my parents' home, and that is what I did. Pretty quickly after that, I got my first brand deal and it was for something crazy. It was like for like $10,000. And prior to doing social media, I worked at a shave ice shack because I was younger, was able to pay me a training wage. And my training wage was like $4.25 an hour, like $4.25 an hour. Yeah. So when I got this offer based on my social media presence for $10,000, I could not breathe. I could not believe it. And this was also at the same time, this was the summer before going into my freshman year of college. So let me turn my page so that we stay on track here. This is where things get interesting. I was going to college to play volleyball. My parents had told me very early on, hey girl, we're not gonna help you pay for college. If you wanna get a degree, you're gonna get it on your own and you gotta find a way to pay for said degree. and respect. I love my parents for telling me that from a very young age. So I decided sophomore year of high school, okay, I'm going to play club volleyball and I'm going to sign with a school and I'm going to get a full ride scholarship. My goal was full ride, whole degree, getting it paid for. And that is what I did. That is what I did. Wow, telling this story back to a camera is kind of therapeutic. I literally did that. I got a full ride scholarship from a little school called Aquinas College. Aquinas, love you, Roll Saints. I had the best time at Aquinas. When I went viral on TikTok, let me really lay out the timeline for you. It was March 2020 when the whole world shut down. Kept growing, kept growing, kept growing. Now I'm in the summer of 2020. Now I'm prepping to go to college as a freshman in college with 3 million followers. And it's kind of like, who's this girl with 3 million followers strutting into our volleyball team with a full ride scholarship? In my freshman year, I remember thinking, I do not want to come off as cocky. I do not want to come off as unhumble. I do not want to come off as anything but, I'm a freshman. I bow down to you. I'm here to play volleyball and get my degree and have a good time. I was a setter. Go Setters. If you're a volleyball player and you're a setter, you know how hard that position was. I'm about 5'11", 6 feet in volleyball shoes, so I'm like a pretty tall woman. And I loved my team. My freshman year experience was amazing. I had the best captains. My coach was super supportive of me having a social media presence. So when the time came for the law, the literal legislation to pass so that athletes could make money off their name, image, and likeness, I jumped on that. We heard the law passed, and the next day I was doing a brand deal, making a putt-putt mini golf course in my living room for my dad. I think it was for $3,000. It was for Bloodline putters. And I wanted to be the first ever athlete to monetize my name, image, and likeness. That was my goal. I'm already waiting to do that. I already have opportunities to do this. That deal single-handedly put the company that I had started on the map. It really was like the start of my entire career outside of social media. I was the girl that was the first NIL pioneer. I'm the grandmother of NIL. I was in Forbes, The Athletic, I was on Fox News, I did all these interviews, and I was able to talk about how, although I'm not this like household name Division I volleyball player, I still was able to make a splash in the world of NIL. Like, you didn't have to be a top 1%er to still make money in the world of name, image, and likeness. And as a social media creator, it was a gold mine for me. I was able to just bank into every and all brand deals ever now that legislation had passed. So let's rein it back in. If I lost you there, don't worry, I'm gonna bring it back in. I've never shared this part of my life in detail because it's kind of boring to the people that don't care. But to the people that do care, this put my first company, I've since exited that company, the company no longer exists. It was a great first experience of founding a company, having people on payroll, knowing what it's like to own and operate and exist in the world of startups. Since then, a lot has changed. So outside of all of the name, image, and likeness stuff, I had the most incredible time at Aquinas. I met some of my best friends still to this day. It was a fantastic experience for me. I was pre-med, and then I switched to going to business, and then I became so invested in this business that I started that I decided, okay, instead of continuing on with school and playing volleyball 40 hours a week, it was time for me to step away and really focus on what could be my future. And that was starting this business and being a content creator and making the kind of money that I only dreamed of making after, a doctorate or after education. I didn't realize that the kind of money that I was able to make was possible for me until it was happening. So this is when I, at 20 years old, bought a house, and that is the house that we're in now. I know this bed isn't that aesthetic. We're still kind of working on the entire place. It's a work in progress, but I bought a house at 20 and I'm very, very proud of that. I went from living with 8 people in a college house to living by myself in this place at 20 years old. And I'm very, very proud to have been able to invest in real estate at that age and to be able to afford a mortgage. That's not what I'm saying, but what I'm saying, at the time my friends were still in college sports, going to college parties, doing college things, and I was making big business moves, in escrow for a house. I was doing things early per my request and I chose that, but I was very lonely, and I did not expect myself to be that lonely. And in the middle of all of that, buying a house, leaving my college sport, starting a business, trying to figure out my independence, I fell in love with a woman. I fell in love with a woman. I dated a man for 4 years. I had been an openly very straight woman, very comfortable with being straight and loving the men. And then I fell in love with a woman. I did. And like, you know the concept of like falling in love? Oh, hi. Okay, there she goes. And you know the phrase falling in love, it kind of insinuates that you have no control over this, like falling in love, tripping, stumbling in love. That's really what it felt like. I mean, I had control in the sense that like my sexuality was becoming apparent to me because I had all of this time to process the internalized homophobia, but the person that I fell in love with, she's great and I still speak highly of her and I'm very glad to have met her and had a relationship with her. I just didn't expect it. And that forced me to come to terms with a lot of things. It forced me to come to terms with the fact that I was raised in a very religious home and a very religious community. That I live in Midwest Michigan, which there are a ton of people here that don't necessarily love the idea of queer people. That the entire life that I had thought and dreamt of for myself wasn't necessarily a reality, but a preconceived notion that I had been taught to be like, okay, Chloe, go to college, get your degree, get your dream job, marry the man, have the babies, live the life. Like, that was no longer a reality for me because this woman that I fell in love with was so amazing and the love that I was experiencing was so pure and so beautiful and it wasn't sinful, it wasn't deceitful, it wasn't anything but glorious and sweet and kind and pure. And I have gay friends. I've had gay friends for a long time, but realizing that I was one of them was kind of like, oh my gosh, I am one of the queers. Yes! But, ooh, this is a good line that I didn't say, but I do want to read off the paper. The version of faith that I was handed had a very specific opinion about who I was allowed to love. I'm going to read that back one more time. The version of faith that I was handed had a very specific opinion of who I was allowed to love. And rather than celebrating it right out the gate, I kind of fought it, I kind of wrestled with it, and then I just fully pressed into it. And that is when I had to come out to my friends and my family. I have hair in my lip gloss. Deconstructing my faith was one of the hardest and loneliest and most necessary things that I've ever done in my life. Not to say that I don't have a faith, because I very much do. I very much do. But the kind of faith that I was taught to have crumbled around me when I realized that the love that I was experiencing wasn't devious or sinful or all the things that queer couples were made to be. It was beautiful. And it was honestly everything I've ever wanted. Like, it was not necessarily this person, and this person is amazing and she's great and she's still in my life, but the experience was everything I ever wanted in that I didn't even give myself the opportunity to be gay or feel gay things because I didn't know it was an option for me until I caught myself staring at this girl across the room thinking, oh my gosh, the things I would do to kiss you, or not even to kiss you, just to hold your hand or to be near to you or smell you. Like, yeah, I look back at that time and I just think about the baby gay Chloe and how conflicted she was. And all of this is going on behind the scenes while I'm still posting on TikTok, while I'm still, my main form of revenue is being Chloe and authentic online and doing these DIYs, but people in my life were like, don't tell the internet. Don't tell the internet you're gay because that could ruin your career. So then I was like, oh my gosh, I can't tell the internet that I'm gay. So then this first relationship that I had with this woman, I didn't want to put on the internet, one, for her sake, but also for the sake of my livelihood. And it was a really hard time. And I was living alone, so then I would just like stew in these feelings. It was a really, really dark time, but also beautiful in the sense that I discovered a lot about myself. Not because I couldn't, but because I was choosing not to talk about my queerness online. I decided to talk about something else. And my whole brand has always been being just super authentic and raw and real. I don't feel like being anyone else but Chloe, and my foot is cramping, so give me a second. Oh, throughout all of that, I had gotten into a very, very dark headspace. Darker than I would like to talk about, I guess, in this video. Maybe we'll save that for another time. But to the point in which I was gonna check myself in somewhere. I was gonna admit myself into some place. I didn't want to be alone because I didn't know what I was gonna do. And instead of checking myself into intensive therapy, I found this incredible talk therapist, and my PCP prescribed me some life-changing medication. It was the first time I ever had an experience with antidepressants, and my whole world flipped upside down. I was able to be myself again. I was able to think clearly. I was no longer shrouded by the shadows and the clouds of anxiety and depression, and I shared this journey online. So instead of just being like the DIY girl that did the she shed and did the fire pit and made the porch swing, I was now a little bit more than that. I branched out of my niche and started talking about mental health and my struggles and being a collegiate athlete, but no longer being one anymore now, and trying to find my identity, and it really gave me a sense of purpose. The messages I've gotten and the people I've talked to, these videos weren't viral. They weren't viral like the she shed videos. They were, if anything, if you were comparing them to the she shed videos, they'd be considered a flop, like a fail, right? But to me, it was finally giving me a chance to let the people that had poured into me and watched my content into a side of my life that I wanted community with. And more than just what I wanted, what others needed community with. And to the people that have messaged me throughout this whole antidepressant journey series that I posted on TikTok, thank you. I can't tell you what your perception and experience with my content has done for me and the kind words that you've said, because those messages and the vulnerable texts and the DMs and all of that have been more than a helping hand for me. There have been so many moments where I thought, I'm just gonna turn the camera off. I'm just gonna get a 9-to-5. What am I doing here? And those messages really, as cliche as it sounds, they really keep me going. So thank you, and I love you, and you know who you are. Going back to my paper because I don't want to get emotional. I did a full beat and I'm going on date night after this. So where are we today? So I decided last January that I was going to come out on a random Tuesday and tell the world about my current partner, Esther. And Esther is the love of my life. She is the sweetest, most beautiful human I've ever met. I met her on a dating app, and I, with her consent, obviously decided to post this video online and just say, screw it, I'm just telling the world, by the way, I'm dating this woman and I love her. And it was received very well. I've received only love and light from everyone on the internet. As for certain people within my life, it was definitely a harder pill to swallow. And I am not poo-pooing on my friends or my family, but with the whole religious aspect, it was brutal for some people in my life to realize that I was voluntarily choosing to be with a woman. I had people being like, there weren't signs, why didn't we know? Have you been lying to us for years? And making it almost like this sinister thing. That was really painful. But those people have gotten over it, and they love Esther. And I love Esther, and we now live together in this house. I wanted to film it in this room and on this bed, because this is where I feel the most comfortable and where I feel the most at home. And I really want this channel to be that for myself and for you, a place where you can feel that you're loved and accepted and that you're at home and that you can be who you need to be here. Same with me. I guess I'm talking to me. I can be who I need to be on this channel. It is long form. There's no cutting things down. There's no 3-minute, time cap. This is where I can truly show you who I am and what my heart is and what my story is. And maybe I can help some of you. Regardless, this is a place for me to show you who I am without the DIYs or the antidepressant stories or the girlfriend. Obviously, I'm going to talk about all those things and do all those things, but I guess this initial video is just reintroducing myself to you and what you can expect from this channel. Let me go back to my page because I have more to say. Oh, and I guess I missed a very important aspect. I have the most incredible representation. I have the most amazing managers, agents, whatever you want to call it. They have, shout out Shannon and Carly and Proud Management. I'm obsessed with you guys. I'm obsessed with Proud Management. They found me last summer. And I was down bad, you guys. I was like, the $10,000 brand deal I told you about earlier on in the video, that deal, those deals were not, those didn't exist, let me put it that way, in the last couple of years. I didn't have the kind of management that saw the value in me that Proud does. And so Proud has really poured into me and given me creative direction in that, like, Chloe, you don't have to just post about DIYs. You can post about your cat. You can post about beauty. You can post on YouTube. They just enabled me and encouraged me to be the kind of creator that I always knew I could be, but having people who are specialists in this space saying, turn on your camera and do it. Like, I cannot speak more highly about my representation. And to the people that are watching this and they'll be like, oh, her representation, like, oh, how foo-foo. No, what you don't understand is that everyone that you see on camera that has a platform is more than likely represented by a group of people. They have a team of people behind them that help them get the offers for the brand deals, get the Super Bowl commercials, do the cool Instagram post collabs. Like, it's never just the person you see on camera. So I just want to say that having proper representation, whether you're a creator or an aspiring creator, is vital. It comes back tenfold when you're working with the right team. That feels so good to say. Have I missed anything? Oh, I know what I've missed. Hold on, let me grab her. This is my baby. Her name is Puka. She is my firstborn, and this is my cat. And Esther and I love her with our whole being. Let me cover her ears. We're gonna get a dog. Did you hear that? We're gonna get a dog soon, and we're very excited about it. The she shed still exists. It's on my parents' property, but it's, you know, rat infested and no longer utilized. I'm still a business owner. I founded and own my own company that helps college athletes get paid, so I'm still doing the whole NIL thing. But my biggest passion and my love is content creation, and so doing this... Oh, bye girl. So this intro video is like my sticking my flag in the sand, saying I am here to stay, and this is who I am. And you can expect from this channel a bunch of fun things. I plan on doing a hot mess homeowner series, which I've already filmed and it's being edited as we speak, and a surprise. It just gives me the creative freedom to create whatever I want, whether it's beauty and I teach you how to beat your face down, or whether it's showing you my favorite products as a cat mom, or whether it's me getting my wisdom teeth out, wink wink, that's totally coming later this month. I'm warning you, that video is, you're gonna need to wear a diaper, you might pee your pants. I'm horrified by the things that came out of my mouth! Ah! I'm horrified. I just want you to know that if you followed me on shorts, that's the highlight reel, but this is the deeper dive into who I am. This is who Chloe is outside of the 3-minute video. And I guess if you've been here since the she shed, I love you, and you're a legend, and I appreciate you. And I'm here to finally stay. This is the star. What is it? Okay, Google, play This Is the Star of Something New. Be the star of something new. It feels so right to be here with you. I definitely missed a lot that was in the script, but I guess with you two, I'm just gonna have to learn that whatever form of Chloe shows up on camera is gonna have to do. Okay, I'm gonna go on date night with my beautiful girlfriend and go pee. I love you guys. Bye.